Hello there. I'm Mount Pain 27, and this is Dean of Doom, the show where we give grades to classic and contemporary Doom WADs. Why? Because ranking things is fun. Today's episode will be dedicated to Vanguard, a WAD created in 2011 by Paul DeBruyne, known to the Doom community as Skillsaw. You might know him as the creator of Valiant and the primary author of Ancient Aliens. I'll say this up front, Skillsaw is my favorite Doom mapper. His levels are action-packed, well-calibrated, creative, and often visually impressive. He infuses his levels with a sense of fun and adventure, and makes them accessible to weaker players while catering to the upper tiers equally well. Now Vanguard is pretty short, just 13 levels made up of 2 5-level episodes, a pair of hellish maps, and a bonus level, but it serves as the perfect introduction to Skillsaw's work, and contains some of the best Doom gameplay I've experienced in quite a while. Now before we dive in, here's how the show works. We'll give each level in the WAD 2 grades, one for quality and one for difficulty. We grade quality from A to F, and difficulty from X to E. X for extreme, E for easy, and A through D in between. A grade A level is fun, memorable, visually distinctive, creative, and a fair challenge. Lower grades mean the level lacks some or all of these qualities. Bear in mind that I'm not the world's greatest player, and my opinions are my own, so our definitions of difficulty and great map design will surely differ. Disagreeing is part of the fun, after all. And at its core, this series is about spreading the joy of Doom, so let's do so. For the first-timers in the audience, here are the rules. Number 1, we play on ultraviolence. 2, we pistol start every level. 3, in order to review the WAD, I must have played it at least twice. 4, saves are allowed but discouraged. And 5, I go for 100% kills in all levels, making exceptions in cases where it's just not worth it. I play on Z-Doom with compatibility settings on strict. Now, to the WAD. Map 1. Overgrown Sepulchre. Vanguard's opening map goes by in a flash, and introduces the verted style of the first episode. You can punch your way through pretty much all of the opposition, nothing too complicated here. You'll probably beat this one in under 2 minutes on your first try, there's barely enough to even grade. Give it a C with a difficulty of E. Map 2. Drowned Shrine. Drowned Shrine is a cozy map with an even cozier MIDI. Skillsaw sets this one in an overgrown, half-submerged temple, which looks nice, but doesn't make much impression compared to the rest of the maps in this set. It's also quite easy, probably because you get the super shotgun so early. I like this effect where the vine textures layer over each other so you have a hard time seeing the specter. It's cool. Grade C+, difficulty D-. Map 3, 13 Angry Archviles. Here's where things get interesting. You might be intimidated by the title at first, but it's not as bad as you think. It's more like 6 pairs of Archviles and one sneaky bastard who ambushes you at the end. Most of the non-Archvile enemies in this map are fodder that you'll want to use as resurrection bait. The fight in the courtyard with the raising and lowering platforms is one of my favorites. Just looking at the setup, you can probably guess what you're in for. You'll have to dodge Archvile fire back and forth behind the platforms while fending off some teleporting grunts, and then you can safely waste the vials with some rockets. Skillsaw's a bit overgenerous with health and power-ups in this map, but it's still early on, I suppose. Skillsaw went on to give this map a much improved sequel 4 years later in Valiant Map 9. Grade B+, difficulty C+. Map 4, Hangman's Paradise. Probably the aesthetic high point of the episode, Hangman's Paradise concisely summarizes the first episode's motifs, and as advertised, it's decorated with a lot of hanging corpses. This area with the sea stacks leading to the clifftop ruins is both neat and highly exposed to long-range projectiles. Dodging Imp, Mancubi, and Cacodemon fireballs can get tricky if you're slow, and falling off can be annoying, except for when you want to grab this secret. The surprise ambush at the end is really no surprise at all if you've ever played a map by Skillsaw, and shouldn't threaten a seasoned vet. Grade B, difficulty C. Map 5, Forgotten Village. Forgotten Village is like your little brother's slaughter map. It's wide open and packed with demons, but it's so full of ammo and so ripe for infighting you can grip and rip it with essentially no preparation. This is definitely the Doom normie in me speaking, but sometimes I like feeling good at the game, and Forgotten Village does that for me. It's fun, what can I say? Skillsaw gives you a ton of room to scramble and sets up his monsters like bowling pins for you to mow down with BFG and rockets. It's a damn sight more intimidating than anything you've seen in the WAD to this point, but it's really not that tough. With its great music and incredibly satisfying combat, this is an early Skillsaw classic. Grade A, difficulty C+. Map 6, Punchline. The opening map of what I like to call the pun episode, Punchline is a Tyson map up until the last fight. Again, Skillsaw doesn't go too hard on you, but you might want to stop expecting every map to be a pleasure cruise after this one. Save your bullets for the lost souls, and watch out for this cement room where a pain elemental will pounce on you. Don't give this meatball any breathing room or I'll make your life hard. You mercifully get a shotgun right at the end, but I wouldn't try to rush past the hit scanners and cacos. They can burn you if you're not patient. Punchline is courteous and fun as Tyson maps go. I'll give it a B with a C for difficulty. Map 7, Dead Symmetrical. I'll pause for laughter now. Dead symmetrical. Wow, this map has a lot going for it. Great music, snazzy visuals, and pure carnage. Within seconds of the level start, 4 walls will lower to reveal mobs of imps, shotgunners, hell knights, and revenants who will try to dogpile you as you circle the arena, knocking off one arachnotron after another. Once they're dead, you know the drill. More walls come down, revealing a gaggle of mancubi. Once you kill them, the platform in the center lowers, unleashing the first cyber demon of the WoD. This map is bloody, frenetic, and quick. I love it. Grade A-, difficulty B-. Map 8, Cratastrophe. Skillsaw's pun-tastic crate maze level is certainly no catastrophe. This map siphons a lot of energy from its epic MIDI, but also packs a punch in its own right. The cramped beginning can catch you off guard, the hit scanners come in clusters and around corners. This little concrete alley of death that I managed to escape only to land in an archvile ambush followed by another archvile ambush is just one of many adrenaline rushes Skillsaw gives you in this WoD. I haven't talked as much about Vanguard's visuals as I have other WoDs on this channel, if only because Skillsaw seems to be taking a less is more approach so far, but Cratastrophe showcases some fine lighting and sharp architecture. The final room is more a shooting gallery than a fight. Fire some rockets in there and clean up the rest with plasma. Cratastrophe is the last freebie in Vanguard. From here on out, you'll have to earn your keep. Grade B+, difficulty C+. Map 9, Free Parking. Ah yes, free parking. From start to finish, this is signature Skillsaw. Huge fights with room to run, the constant pressure to fight or fly, nasty surprises with archviles, I absolutely love it. The level really kicks off when you drop into the parking garage area where you'll find a rocket launcher, a BFG, and a view of this. If this were any other mapper, I'd say you were in for a round of unabashed cruelty, but it's Skillsaw, the undisputed champion of Doom combat. You know what, instead of rambling on about how fun this map is and pulling adjectives out of my rear end to illustrate said fun, how about I just roll some clips instead? Free parking is intense, high-quality Doom mapping that really hits the spot for anyone looking for a healthy but enjoyable challenge. Grade A, difficulty B+. Map 10, Superstructure. Well, if you thought Forgotten Village was hectic, have a gander at Superstructure, which houses over 800 enemies, more than the previous 4 levels combined. Superstructure boils down to 4 challenge rooms: the main area, presumably the superstructure itself, the cave system, the basement room, and the outdoor section. Let's start with the opening. Not to sound like a loading screen from Doom 2016, but if you stop moving here, you're dead. It's not all that difficult to wipe everything out once you get over the intimidation factor and find a nice circuit. Personally, I always find smaller groups of revenants harder to fight. When clumped together like this, they're just rocket food. The cave section isn't too scary either, it's just a bit dark, and there's a cyber demon to deal with. Easily my favorite part of the level is the fight in the basement.
You don't gotta be Stonewall Jackson, no, you don't wanna fight in the basement.
When you hit the switch, monster closets all around the room will start to open in sequence, and you won't have enough cells to BFG everything, so it's better to clear as much real estate as you can with rockets before switching to BFG mode. Dust the archvile as quickly as possible, keep an eye out for the cyber demon, and you'll be fine. The outdoor area I usually save for last, since the last leg of it usually gets pretty hairy. Skillsaw isn't pulling punches here, and that makes for a hell of a time. Grade A, difficulty A. Map 11, Temple of Asmodeus. With the jungles purged and the demon's superstructure decommissioned, there's only one place left to visit. Hell, of course. Skillsaw's vision of Inferno is quite orange, and rendered with remarkable depth of detail. I love these carpets, the stained glass windows, lava flows, the skybox. Man, oh man, does that look good. The lighting is also really meticulous, especially in the starting room and the arena by the exit. Temple of Asmodeus predates Eve Eternity's hell maps by about 7 years, but it gives most of them a run for their money. I'm so swept up in how good this level looks I'm running out of room to talk about the combat, which is great. Except for the part where an archvile gets released into the first room you cleared, that's no fun. And the outdoor area is a mess, just run past it and deal with it later. One of my favorite fights in the entire WoD is the Plasma Fest in this beautiful lava fall arena. As in Superstructure's basement fight, this is crowd control 101. Just keep moving around and hold down the fire button. The cramped Hell Knight fight in the lava cave is also pretty cool. Space to move is at an even higher premium here. It's another home run for Skillsaw, definitely the better hell map of the two in Vanguard. Grade A, difficulty A-. Map 12, Infernal Chasm. Honestly, I don't really like Infernal Chasm. The first couple of minutes when you're gearing up and grabbing guns aren't bad, and check out this eye-popping cacodemon encounter. It's like a painting with monsters. Okay, let's kill him. But then Skillsaw ushers you into the titular death pit, where you'll find a ludicrous amount of monsters and an even more ludicrous amount of radiation suits. So many that I wonder why Skillsaw even bothered to make the floors damaging, because the suits aren't hard to find or necessary to ration. Seriously, you'll be using so many rad suits that you'll remember Infernal Chasm as that greenish-orange level at the end. As much as I loved the visuals of the last map and the start of this one, the chasm itself is kind of blocky and ugly. Finally, the combat is some of the weakest in the WoD. It wants to be harder than everything that came before, and it probably is, but something about it feels bloated and off, like a run-on sentence. I enjoy mowing down hordes of monsters as much as the next guy, but it's nowhere near as sophisticated as the brand of encounters Skillsaw has become known for. Anyway, no point in beating a dead horse. Grade, C+, difficulty, A. And map 13, Punch-Out! Punch-Out is a boxing arcade game by Nintendo, originally released in December 1983. Just kidding. This absolute gem is Vanguard's credits map. You get a berserk at the start and duke it out in the ring with some demonic challengers of escalating weight classes, and it's pretty adorable. Grade, A. Difficulty, C+. So, Vanguard is about as much fun as you can have in an afternoon of dooming. Its brevity is actually an advantage because it leaves you wanting more in the end, and never feels like it's padding itself out, which you can sometimes experience in playing Megawads. Ancient Aliens and Valiant get a lot more recognition, but Vanguard's best can hang with both of them. I'm going to give it a final grade of A-, because it's rare to find so many excellent and memorable levels in a Megawad, let alone a set of 13. As for difficulty, it gets a B-. I'd say it's significantly harder than Doom 2, but easier than something like the Plutonia experiment. So here's my Dean's list. Valedictorian, Map 9, Free Parking. Salutatorian, Map 5, Forgotten Village, and it's very close between that one and Map 10, Superstructure. Class President, Map 12, Infernal Chasm, and if I have to give a dunce cap to one, it would have to be Infernal Chasm, Map 12, for letting down high expectations. Thank you very much for watching, and please feel free to share your thoughts on the WoD in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think. This is Mount Pain 27, and I'll see you in the next episode of Dean of Doom.